Good morning, everybody. A couple of you, a couple of days ago in the Coffee Monsters Co. Facebook group and also in the Atlanta Stationery Fans meetup group on Facebook, asked if I could do a little flip through of my plotter. Plotter is the ring bound system that I use for work stuff. I do keep monthly and weekly and daily information in my Hobonichi, but I don't necessarily want to bring this big chunky thing out into the real world. And so I leave that at home and I use a plotter Bible size to track all of my work data. This is just a little bit more portable. It's a little more durable because the cover is leather and it's not deco-centric. It's much more functional and utilitarian. So I keep it in this plotter pouch that's got a big pocket on the front that will allegedly hold a phone, but with my case on it, it doesn't really hold a phone. It comes with a pen loop, but I don't use that. It's more like a handle for me. I use the pen loop that's on one of the lifter pages in my plotter, but I do keep a small pen pouch that's got a Coffee Monsters Co. stencil ruler in rose gold, a pencil, a black gel pen, a highlighter, and a small profile fountain pen in there, and that gets me through pretty much anything I need to do in the plotter. But real quick, I just want to do a very quick flip through, and then I also want to take you through laying down a week in the plotter and also create a Bujo style order page that I use to track salon inventory and orders on a weekly basis. So this is the Shiranami leather, the indigo blue leather that's USA or North America exclusive through Plotter USA. I chose the Bible size. I wish that I had gone with the A5 size. I'm just used to a little bit more space, but I am trying as best I can to give this a whirl because it was a significant investment. This was not cheap, so I want to make it work. If it doesn't work, I would say by the end of the year, I plan on upgrading to an A5 size and I will sell this setup and recoup some of the loss. So you have the option of having ring protectors. This is just a scrap of leather, well, not scrap, a cut piece of leather that fits over the rings that helps prevent the rings from making really obvious, noticeable marks on the exterior of the leather surface. As you can see, it's starting to come through, and that will happen. That's normal and natural, but it just helps to prolong the life and prevents it from happening much quicker. Throughout the plotter system, you'll see lifter pages of various designs that you can use for different things. This particular one snaps in and out very easily. You don't have to access the ring system. Plotter rings are on the small size. This entire system is designed to only hold 80 pages. The whole point of Plotter is to just keep the information with you that you currently need. You're not carrying around your entire life like in a Hobonichi. So you'll see what I mean. This is today's to-do list. I will also use the back side of that tomorrow because it's nice paper. I'm not going to waste it. I keep this one page at the very front because it's the most used page in the entire plotter. So I keep it up front where I can see it and access it easily. I usually do a broader nib fountain pen with a shimmer ink. I don't know if you can see that. As the date, so it's like a nice header. And then I list everything out in order of importance that I need to do that day, and I can check it off. Plotter to-do lists have a handy little guide here where you can mark off how much of each project you have done. I typically don't do that. I will work on one project at a time until it's done, so I just check it off when it's finished. The next lifter page has got my strap that keeps the whole thing closed on it, and it's also got a very handy paper size guide. I don't know if you can catch this in the video because it's kind of like gray on black. It's very subtly marked. This is from Knox, not Plotter. I got that on Amazon Japan because it was a red and navy strap. I like red and blue together, so the cover's the indigo blue. I wanted that to contrast nicely. On the next page is a project manager that I made out of the Coffee Monsters Co. autumn themed vellum. And inside this particular project manager is my longer to-do lists, longer term to-do list. These are projects that are not going to be done on a daily basis, but maybe quarterly or even weekly, things that are going to take me a little longer. I just keep those separated. And then also in the back, I've got blank pages for the to-do list so that I can just have a couple extra sheets on the go for easy replacement of that. We've got another lifter page that I use as a divider. This is a vertical perpetual calendar that's very handy, but has not been filled out yet. I just got this the other day. So that's one of my projects that I'll be working on over the next couple of days. And I'll use this to track important dates like birthdays, anniversaries, important life events. This was from Filofax, and I got it on Amazon. Next up is my calendar. This is from Binex, B-I-N-E-X, and I got this system on Amazon Japan. It comes with a monthly calendar followed by weekly layouts. It's got tabs on the side. I only keep the current month and the next month to plan, a little future planning. I don't keep more than that because it takes up valuable real estate in a binder system that only takes 80 pages. So you'll see I've only got the current week. I don't even have all of August. As I pass a page that's no longer used, I take it out to make room in the binder system because 80 pages goes quick. But you'll see a month at a glance and then week at a glance. We're going to come back and fill out these pages are awfully thin. The first week in September. Here we go. Sorry. The first week in September, which is next week. I use this to track the clients that I do at the salon. I will also put on here important events that I don't want to forget because I have a brain like Swiss cheese and I like to have my reminders in multiple places. But this is mainly for work, and I use it to track how much I'm projected to bring into the salon every week. And then on a daily basis, I can track how much I actually brought in, how much retail I sold, how much tax I collected for sales tax, how much tips I collected, and a total and a running total. And that is an easy way for me to keep my numbers in mind so that I'm more effective as a business owner. Following that is just a couple of blank pages that normally I would not keep in here, but on the flip side of those pages are pages that I do use, so I'm keeping that in there. Then I've got September's month at a glance, followed by September's week at a glance. After that section is another lifter page with a pen loop that I do use, and it's got some really cool script examples on it. I'm trying to practice penmanship, so this is a nice reminder. And on the back side, it's got some interesting quotes, and down here is a really cool line width tracker so that you can check your nib sizes and make sure that your fine nib is really a fine nib. Next up is another project manager that I created out of the Coffee Monsters Co. Vellum. And this project manager tracks the orders that I've placed. So I will write the date and the vendor that I ordered it from, the total, a brief description of what I ordered, tracking information, the date that it's expected, and the date that it actually arrives. This allows me to keep track of my happy mails so that I don't lose anything. Next up is a project manager that is Plotter branded, and this has got my marketing and sales service plan for the entire rest of the year. I sat down and plotted out the whole rest of the holiday season so that everything is ready to go and I don't have to think about it anymore. Then is a project manager that I made out of really nice quality paper that I think is intended to be used as gift wrap. I got this from Barnes & Noble. It came in really large sheets, and I just cut it down and made a project manager out of it. And this has got the information that I put in the last weekly layout video from my Hobonichi that I posted the other day. I wrote all of this stuff down so I didn't have to worry about forgetting anything because I used the phone that I store this data in to film these projects, so I couldn't go back and forth. Then in another lifter page, you already saw that one. And finally, the last project manager that's also Plotter branded is the blank pages, dot grid pages that I use to make Bujo style order forms. This is how I keep track of what inventory I've sold, as far as the hair color that I use or retail that I sold, so that at the end of the week I can place an order and at the beginning of the week it's ready to go. My sales rep will get just a photo of this and she can place the order for me, and then on Wednesday, before I go into the salon, I swing by the store and pick it up. So I thought I would make one of these for you using some Bujo stencils, and you can see how I do that on the dot grid. The last part of the plotter is a really interesting washable and reusable black craft paper folder that I bought from Taroko Designs on Etsy. This was originally Traveler's Notebook size. I cut it down so it would fit in my plotter, but I accidentally punched the holes a little too low, so you can see that it hangs out the bottom here. Taroko Designs is currently on vacation, so I can't do anything about that, but as soon as he's reopened for business, I plan on replacing that because this hanging out the bottom really bothers me, and I want to replace that. So let's go back and lay quickly a week in September. What I will do is take out both days. This is the advantage of having a ring system planner. You can take things in and out. And what I like to do is create this bottom, almost hand-drawn spreadsheet that I use to track daily and weekly information. I will use just a ruler. Today I will be using Helen's ruler from the Coffee Monsters Co. And later I will use these stencils from Jaden's Apple, also on Etsy. Currently not shipping to the US, so I'm really glad that I got these when I did, because the whole tariff situation's limited people's ability to ship to us. So if they ever decide to start shipping again, I highly recommend Jaden's Apple on Etsy for metal Bujo stencils, but we'll get to that later. First, what I like to do is draw the lines. I'm gonna just pop this underneath here so that I have a firm surface. This tabletop is kind of rough hewn, so I want a nice firm surface to work against. I will line my pages up and do the bottom margin of both pages at once so that I make sure that my lines are centered. And because I'm feeling a little extra smart today, I'm gonna stick these pages down with some washi. I have one already open in here. This is something that is really useful about washi because it's a masking tape. It's easy to remove without damaging papers. So I'm just going to stick this to this plastic board and maybe another little piece up here so it can't shift. That way I don't have to worry about my lines shifting. I'm going to use a gel pen to make these because you never want to use a fountain pen up against a ruler, especially a metal ruler, because you can bend your tines out of position and then you won't get proper ink flow. So use a roller ball or a ballpoint or gel pen or something like that. This happens to be the Pen Addicts Click Model CX pen. Comes with a really cool metal barrel with a very sturdy clip. It hangs out in my pen loop on my plotter all day long. So the first thing I want to do is divide this subsection in half using this line as my guide because it is exactly half. And then I'll divide each of those into half. I kind of have to eyeball this because this ruler is not clear. In my next shipment that I'm getting from the Coffee Monsters Co. will be a clear acrylic ruler, which will be very handy for doing this. Because as you can see, it's not quite centered, and that really bothers me. So, someday soon, I will be able to address that. All right, that should do it. because the information that I track, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. And above this larger margin at the bottom, I can use these 2 spaces that are already the same width. So on Tuesday's day, because I work Wednesday through Saturday, on Tuesday's day, I can start writing down my labels for the info that I track. It's a little tedious and monotonous, so sorry you get to sit with me through this, but this is something that I will do on a Sunday night or a Monday night, kind of while I'm watching television. It's a background fidgety project that I can just knock out without too much thought. I've got it kind of down to a science. All right, so once I've got that laid out, then I can pull up my calendar and start to fill out the information. Just like I do in my Hobonichi, if I've got some static appointments that happen every week, I can write those in gel. But because this is work-related stuff, most of the things that get put in this are in pencil because sometimes that stuff has a tendency to shift around. I'll repeat my PSA. Try as hard as you can to not change your appointment at the hair salon last minute. Hairdressers work on a schedule. If we don't work, we don't eat. Last minute changes are sometimes very difficult to fill with other clients. And so that means we're sitting around not making any money. This first appointment is not going to change because it is Labor Day. School closed. Sometimes in a Bible size notebook system, the weekly layouts, the columns are on the narrow side. The way to get around that is to have your weekends either stacked or not on the page at all. And that gives a little bit more room, real estate room for wider days. But I work on Saturdays, so I need the weekend to be there. I won't be able to get away with that. So I just have to cram everything in there that I can. Again, some of these things are not work related, but I need to make sure that I can remember some stuff, so I put it in multiple places. And then I have a special note on Tuesday. There's a rumor going around that the 2026 refill pages may be available for sale in the US on the 3rd. So I'm making a note to check and see if there's anything available on the 2nd so that I can make sure I wake up on the 3rd and check right away. Sometimes things that happen around the world happen at times other than Eastern Standard Time, which is where I live. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes part. I may go silent a little bit to write all of this stuff, and I may have something interesting to say, and I'll pop back in and talk to you. This cutout on Helen's stencil aluminum rulers is perfect for doing exactly this. You line up with the left margin of your column. You can see the numbers for the time through this stencil cutout. And when you draw a line on the right-hand margin of this cutout, it places a time block line exactly where you need it, where it doesn't cover up the time and it doesn't cover up the item that you are tracking. So this particular one ends a little bit after 3. So you can draw a line and have it end, and it's perfectly spaced. This is a well thought out, well designed product by Helen at the Coffee Monsters Co. And I usually time block for anything that is 2 hours or longer. If it's not, I don't bother putting a line down. And typically, I do not double book myself at work because I have a solo suite and I only have one chair to work on a client at a time. So that requires playing musical chairs with clients, and I don't like to do that unless they happen to know each other. And in this particular case, this is a mother and a daughter, so I don't mind making them play musical chairs, and I can work on one while the other is processing. And in that case, I will make 2 lines to indicate to myself that's 2 different appointments at the same time, and I've double booked myself. Those little abbreviations that you see me making are just what service the client is getting. It's my own little system. PHL, for example, stands for a partial highlight, just in case you were wondering. That is it for work appointments. Let me just double check, make sure nothing from the home calendar needs to go on here. And yes, it does. Thursdays is payroll, very important. And on Saturday at 5 p.m., I'm getting my second shingles vaccine, also very important. Get your vaccines, folks. They'll save your life. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there right now. I happen to be autistic, vaccines do not cause autism. It has been scientifically proven. Get your vaccines. Help save lives. All right, off my soapbox. And that's pretty much it. This video ran a little bit long, so I'm going to make a second video showing how to do a Bujo style order page in the plotter, just so that I can break up the time frame. So I hope you guys liked this. If you did, please consider following my channel or subscribe to it, maybe share it, make a comment, anything to help keep me in the algorithm and grow this business. That would be fantastic. And take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Have a great day.